On this episode of the Carolina Sports Guy, we're going to look at Carolina Panthers, Carolina Sports Guy style. Who are the most hated, from the most hated to the least hated in the NFC? I'll give him a ranking. Before we do this, folks, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It doesn't cost anything. Hit the bell notification to be notified of other videos like this one. Cover videos on the Carolina Hurricanes, Charlotte Hornets, Carolina Panthers, and major college sports in the Carolinas. Hit the like button. Pound the like button. Let me know that you like what you see in the content in these videos. And by all means, folks, leave comments. Let me know what you'd like to see in upcoming future episodes of the Carolina Sports Guy. Okay, folks, kind of being in the off season, and I've done a few videos, why I hate the Saints, why I hate Atlanta. And just a few days ago, I did one on my hatred for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, although it's not as severe as Atlanta and New Orleans. And I got thinking, and then there's other teams I don't care for in the NFC. And basically, honestly, I don't root for anybody but the Panthers. But if I had to follow someone, if we're not in the playoffs or Super Bowl, and somebody said, well, who would you like to see win? I'll probably pick a couple of AFC teams because we don't play them but every 4 years in the Super Bowl or whatever. And I'll probably do a video on the ones I hate from the most to the least in the AFC at a different time. But I wanted to go with this list, and I got them broken down into 4 categories. The blazing hot, the teams I hate the most, and there's 2. And there's no doubt about it. I'll start with them first because you can't hide this. There's no build up because if you've been with this channel for long, you know who it is, folks. It's the New Orleans Saints. It's a tie between them and Atlanta, but I think because Sean Payton's there, and I just can't stand his trifling ass, and Cam Jordan, and even though when Drew Brees would roll out with his moles, should have been 12 men on the field, and the whole Who Dat Nation playing in that piece of shit Superdome, I just can't stand New Orleans, and it is extra special when we beat them, and I hope we beat them this year with no problem. I'd love that. Number 2, in some years it can flip-flop. If we end up killing it by New Orleans without Breeze now, and Atlanta's still nip and tuck year in and year out, and look, Atlanta's beat us more than any other franchise, 33-19, especially in Atlanta. There's almost like a 3-to-1 ratio. They beat us in Atlanta, and it's a cesspool. And Matt Ryan, his women underwear wearing ass, get the F off our field, and just I can't stand Matt Ryan. And when Michael Vick was there, and he played college ball at Virginia Tech, but man, he was so elusive and hard to deal with. I was so glad. I hated to see the man get in trouble, but I was kind of so glad when he did before Matt Ryan got there, because I thought, man, we don't have that nemesis to deal with again. But Atlanta's always been a thorn in our side, and they've had certain coaches, the Smith guy they had that looked like a mafia guy, and then the ball-headed guy looked like a mad Mr. Clean. I'm not going to bring their names up, but they're on that list. Now we get to the teams that are highly disliked. I wouldn't say my hate rages like these other 2 teams, but number 3 on that list, highly disliked, is Tampa Bay. Look, you get them twice a year. There's years that we dominated the series, and we do have the series edge, but Tampa Bay would always beat us a year when we were going to definitely have no problem with them. And we've kind of beat them 6 times in a row, 1 time, 5 times in a row. They've never beaten us more than 3 times in a row. And with Brady there, and I think they've beaten us the last 2 with Brady last year, Brady's going to want to come in and win these 2 so he can say, hey, Tampa, I beat Carolina 4 times in a row. Y'all never did. And I can't stand Tom Brady. And I don't like Bruce Arians and his punk-ass Kango hat. But until if the rivalry, one time when they had Warren Sapp, when we were trying to build for Super Bowl 38, it was there. If Tom Brady and them have another magical year, and we start battling and it gets back and forth, whether they blow us out or they barely win or we split the series, Tampa Bay could move up into the hated list, but they're highly disliked. Number 4 for me is Washington. Wow, Washington? Yes. And there's a reason for that, folks. Before we had the Carolina Panthers, and then living in northeastern North Carolina, I'm kind of stuck in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Virginia TV and radio market. And therefore, Virginia is a Washington, D.C., Washington Redskins / football team. That's the team they root for and go to. and I guess their training camp's in Richmond, Virginia, and I can't stand them because growing up, even before we had the Panthers, if I wanted to see a good game with whoever it would be, I'd get stuck having to watch the Redskins, even if they were playing the Detroit Sisters of the Poor. I had to stop and watch that because that was the game on TV. So that's the reason why I can't stand Washington. I hate the fact that they got a lot of people who never transplanted. When Carolina got their team almost 30 years ago, some people still held on to the Washington, and I can't do it. I can't root for Washington. Now, this is a long list here, and this is the dislike. They're not highly disliked, but they are disliked, and some more than others. Number 5 would be San Francisco. Just never cared for them. When Kaepernick was there and they beat us in the playoffs, their fans were a bunch of asses, and I just think they're overrated, and I run into a lot of their fans, and I don't like them. I didn't like them when Montana was there. I just don't like San Fran. Number 6, Green Bay Packers. A lot of people, why I hate Green Bay? Oh man, I just think they're overrated. They're fan, everybody. I understand the history, but some people just root for them because of the history. Oh, it's Green Bay. Oh, a small market team, bunch of fat, pasty people in the stands with no clothes on, and then they bring their husbands. It's scary, and I'm just not a Green Bay fan. Number 7 is Seattle. Now, you think Seattle will be high on the list because they are the one NFC team who's beaten us twice in the playoffs. And that's enough said about that. But yeah, there's been some better games against Seattle, and they had our number for a few years, especially with Russell Wilson and these guys. So that's why they're number 7. Number 8, Chicago. Don't ask me why. I just don't care for the Bears. I think they play a boring style of football. I think their fans are arrogant as well. I just a plain C on their helmet, and I just wasn't a fan when Ditka was there, when they had the Super Bowl shuffle. I'm just not a Bears fan. Now, we've gotten Greg Olsen and Chris Harris and some other guys that play for the Bears, and that's fine. Peanut Tillman. But I'm just not a Chicago Bear fan, and I don't root for them at all. Number 9 is kind of a toss-up with number 10. Number 9 is Minnesota. And the problem with Minnesota, we played them 15 times in our history, 10 in Minneapolis, and it just seems they have our number, and they've beaten us like 9 out of 15 times. We've won 6. So, they got a 60% advantage. And it just seems sometimes they beat us when we got them on the ropes, like last year, because of a kicker who couldn't make the kick at the end of the game. And then, have a quarterback had a man wide open and overthrow him on an open receiver. Number 10 is Philadelphia. And I could really put Philadelphia many years here in Minnesota at number 9. I guess because of Minnesota's game last year, I've knocked Philly down to 10. But they got some nasty fans and that stupid ass E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles chant. And their fans act like they're the only ones who know a damn thing about football. And I don't care for Philly. Hockey, anything. 11, the LA Rams. I don't care if it's St. Louis, if it's Los Angeles, no thanks. Not a Rams fan. They bore me, even though they've gotten better. I don't give a shit that you play in LA. It doesn't mean anything to me. Good luck taking the spotlight away from the Lakers or the Dodgers. It won't happen. Number 12 is the Giants. And sometimes I've hated the Giants. It is New York after all. Can't stand the Yankees, other teams I don't like. And I just don't like the Giants because they're from New York. But we had a season edge against these guys, like 7-4. So it's not like they've shit in my parade many times. But yeah, I don't care for the Giants, but they're disliked. I wouldn't say I hate them. Number 13 would be Dallas. Now, don't get me wrong. I grew up a Cowboy fan. I shouldn't say that on here, but remember I was a little kid growing up. I didn't know any better. The Panthers didn't come into existence till I was in my 20s. So growing up, Staubach was a big deal. America's team. And the first Panther game I went to was against Dallas. The fans are arrogant. Now, I grew up as a fan at the time. I followed the draft. I remember when Leon Lett got drafted by Emporia State, and Larry Brown was drafted out of TCU in the 12th round, and, many different players. And I followed them pretty good until we got the Panthers. But America's team, no. And their fans are so arrogant. That's one reason why they're disliked now. I don't like them. I'm a Carolina fan, and I love to beat them. I love to see them lose. And Jerry Jones as well, man. And plus, they got their coaches like the Shoney's big boy. Now, the last 2 teams on this list, there's no hate for them. I don't have love either. It's just neutral. I can't even get an inkling of hate. Number 14 is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I know if I had any hate, it's the one year they shot when Jake Delhomme's birthday and he threw 5 interceptions, fumbled the ball. Kurt Warner and the Cardinals went on to make the Super Bowl that year and lose to Pittsburgh. But other than that, and even when Arizona's beat us a few times, I don't hate them. They're going to have to beat us in important times and a whole lot of times for me to put them on a hate list. And folks, number 15 is Detroit. The only thing I can come is when Matt Patricia's non-coaching ass beat Ron Rivera. We missed an extra point, missed a slap shot field goal. I had some just plays go wire, a 2-point conversion go through. We should have beat them. They beat us a few times, but Detroit just hasn't been good, and until they get good or win a playoff game or pose a threat, that's kind of hard to hate on. And I'd rather see them beat Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago. So they'd be last on this list for my hate. So what do you guys think of today's video? Who do you hate the most out of these 15 teams in NFC? Which team do you hate the least? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the bell notification, be notified of further content. Leave me some messages, folks. And as well, as always, it's free. Subscribe. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Carolina Sports Guy.